retired, people that's deceased, termination, pretty much that's it.
All right. Now, I think Miss Fastnight was alluding to this at the end of her testimony. If somebody under the procedure that's in existence now, under the winter 2020 pick, do the lunch relief people only replace people at lunch, or do they do other work?
Oh, no, that's an understatement. They do a lot more than that.
What else would they do?
Yeah. So one thing they do is they relieve people for hearings, which is approximately 2 to 3 hours that it takes for someone to go to a hearing with travel and going to the hearing. They also fill in for right to know classes, which is approximately 3 to 4 hours long, not counting the travel time to make it 5 to 6 hours. So these are all times that the booth wouldn't be manned if it was predicated on the station, the lunch relief going to do the reliefs. As it stands now, without these lunch reliefs, we don't know who's going to fill these booths. Also, family emergencies. Let's not negate that fact. People that take ill, let's not forget that. So there's a multitude of things that they do besides just lunches.
So those are responsibilities which now have to get covered by some group. We don't know who it's going to be, right?
We have not a clue who is going to be doing this, because typically what happens with extras like Ms. Bassnight stated, called in the day before for their assignments for the next day. They are in 8-hour shifts. We're talking about contingencies, things that happen throughout the day. Throughout the day, they have, like I said, these things arise. Family emergencies, people that take ill, people that go to hearings. And the system is not flawless. Let me just say the very least, that there are people that are getting called at certain times that the authority did not, prepare for. And these lunch relief go there and they fill these slots, and then the people come back to the booth and they resume their duties.
So that's assuming without lunch relief, that's where that's a responsibility that's going to be reallocated to probably the extra list people, right?
Only God knows how they're going to facilitate that, because they changed the hours as well from 7 to 3 to 3 to 11 to 11 to 7. So they have uniformity with hours. Before they had staggered hours, which may have been possible to achieve that goal at that point. Right now, only God knows how they're going to achieve that goal. And let me just add this. This right to know is state mandated law by PESH. Okay, our members that miss these classes are subject to discipline. I have a great deal of discipline on the table from people that miss these classes. So they are mandatory classes.
So that means they have to go and their job has to be covered, right?
They must go or they're subject to discipline.
All right, I have no other questions.
Mr. Hurd.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Kelly.
Good afternoon.
I just want to confirm a couple points that you testified about. You said the last station agent that's been hired was in April of 2020?
Yes, that is correct. That was the last class that came through our system.
And in fact, there's been a hiring freeze at the Transit Authority since then, right?
I don't know the exact date of the hiring freeze. I just know the date of the last class that came through my hands.
Fair enough. But you are aware that there's a hiring freeze now at the Transit Authority, right?
But let me just say this to you. I'm aware there's a hiring freeze when it comes to stations. You say the Transit Authority boldly, but meanwhile, I have a list of classes that was done in all months from the months after April with other departments. I have a great deal of numbers here that show that there has been a lot of hiring after April, but it just hasn't been in the stations department. I guess you want to say bird that chirps the loudest gets fed. I guess you could say that.
So it's fair to say that at a minimum, there's a hiring freeze going on in the stations department. Is that fair?
From what I understand, there was a hiring freeze in the system, all across the board.
Okay.
So let's just say that.
Okay. And as a result of that, when someone, I think you said, either retires or is deceased or is terminated, they can't. That position can't be filled because the station agents can't hire anybody new to replace that person, right?
That's not exactly true. At the end of the day, they have proven to be able to hire people aside from stations. So it's clearly that there isn't a hiring a freeze all throughout the system. It's not mainstream. I truly believe that it is as need to facilitate whatever needs to be done with the work. And I would just say that maybe station was this sacrificial lamb, and we just didn't get the hiring that we needed.
Okay. In any event, you haven't gotten the hiring that you needed, so the numbers of available people has gone down in the stations department.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
And that's the reason why there would be fewer people picking in the 2020 winter pick versus the 2021 winter pick, right?
That is correct.
Okay. It's due to the fact that you're not able to hire people to replace people that have left.
Well, let's just say that I don't want to use that. You said that very boldly. It's not the fact that we don't have the ability to hire people. We choose not to. Or you guys choose not to. Your side choose not to. Because clearly they are hiring people throughout the system after the freeze was on.
Fair enough. You're not able to hire people. You think other people are, but you're not able to hire people.
There's no question in my mind that we have the ability to do so upon the need. And there is a great need for hiring in our department. But like I said, once again, there was choices that was made from departmental levels to other hiring.
Understood. Okay. And I'm going to ask you what I asked Ms. Basnight. When the lunch relief position was eliminated in 2021, the people that held that position, held a lunch relief position, they were able to pick another role, whether it be an extra or something, depending on their seniority, right?
Yeah, I'd like to say that they was redeployed to do other duties that was eliminated. There was jobs eliminated. They was those eliminated.
Please, I can't.
I didn't know he was still talking. Go ahead, sir.
Elimination. So just say like this. There's jobs that was eliminated, and they taken the numbers from the lunch relief to fill those jobs.
Right. Those people in the lunch relief job were reallocated to other jobs within the stations.
Well, those jobs, what they did with the lunch relief jobs, once again, was took the lunch relief job and they fill in the jobs that they got rid of.
Okay. And are you aware of anyone who was in a lunch relief job who wasn't able to pick another job?
No.
I don't have anything further, Your Honor.
Any redirect, Mr. Schwartz?
You muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Mr. Kelly, you said that the authority is hiring elsewhere. Are they hiring bus drivers?
Yes, that is correct.
Are they hiring train operators?
Absolutely.
Are they hiring conductors?
Yes, sir.
And this is since April 2021?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So there's no legal impediment to hiring people, right?
I have bus operators that was hired. No, there isn't. I have bus operators that was hired up to 12/29/20. The last day, a couple of days before the year end. So all right. Throughout the year they've been hiring. Yes, that is correct.
And there's no legal impediment that you know of to hiring.
Objection, Your Honor. I don't believe Mr. Kelly's a lawyer can testify about what legal impediments there might be.
I sustain the objection.
Right. The union hasn't agreed to a hiring freeze in your department.
Absolutely not. In fact, we pleaded and begged the authority to consider treating us fairly as the other departments has been treated.
All right. And Mr. Hurd used the word reallocated. Were the lunch relief people reallocated, or were they just able to pick the people that used to pick lunch relief now could pick some other job?
So what they did was they're able to pick jobs that was eliminated.
They were able to pick jobs that were eliminated, or they were able to pick jobs that weren't eliminated?
That was eliminated. When you look at it, you got they picked the jobs that eliminated the people that was in those jobs. You got the RDOs, as Ms. Basnight stated. When you look at these jobs across the board, the 72 and the 25, these are no longer there. These RDO jobs are no longer there for availability to pick. So they're picking jobs. When you look at it across the board, there are less jobs. It's not like there's more jobs and they're being reallocated to do them. There's less jobs, believe it or not, when you look at the RDOs and you look at the vacations. Okay? There's less jobs.
There's less jobs.
They're playing with the numbers.
But
Playing with the numbers.
listen to my question. Were they reallocated or were they just able to pick another job?
They was able to pick another job.
And is anybody at all scheduled to do lunch relief under the current program that you have, that the Transit Authority announced?
No.
And the fact that the pick book says self-lunch, do you know what that means? What does that mean?
That means that there's going to be a lot more than the 900 assaults in the last 4 months that transpired.
What does it mean in terms of the station agent? What does self-lunch mean?
That means that the station has to go to lunch themselves, lock, close the booth doors, and for 30 minutes, on top of the 3 to 5 hours, and on top of the 2 to 3 hours that they're going to do with the hearings, and that's how long the booth's going to be unmanned.
Listen, when they do self-lunch, what do they do?
They go to lunch themselves and lock the door and leave the booth unmanned.
Okay. And nobody would be scheduled.
And they leave the station as well, Mr. Schwartz, which means there's nobody there for any emergency situation or anything else.
And it's not like there's a lunchroom in each station, right?
There is not. Well, the ones that are there, there's not, all are not in great condition. I wouldn't sit in there myself, no.
And there's no plan that you know of to when they lock the door and go to lunch, somebody
Judge, I don't know if you realize my computer died.
Karen, your computer
I don't know
died?
if you were still speaking. Yeah, so I got the last thing. Is anybody at all scheduled to do lunch relief under the current program that you have that the transit already announced? That's the last question I have. I'm sorry.
when somebody locks the door and leaves, is there any plan that you've been told of to have an extra person go into that booth?
No, they're told to take self-lunch, which means that they can leave the premises and leave not only the booth unmanned, but the station.
Right. I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly. Okay, my time is noting 12:47. That will only give us less than 14 minutes to start Mr. Hurd's inquiry. I would suggest that we end now and we start fresh at 2:30, so there will be no long break. How do counsel feel about that?
Right, and just so Your Honor, that would be the end of our case, so he would start with his witness.
Yes.
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much.
What time, Your Honor? 2:30?
2:30. Thank you very much. I'm leaving the meeting at this moment. Thank you. Have a good lunch. Be safe.